Hello and welcome back, pirates and friends of pirates, and all you enemies of pirates. Yes, gather around. It's me, Giuliano, and can you believe it? Indeed, it's 30th of May. We're reaching the end of the day, the UTC time. And wow, what a great month of May. Not for everyone and not in every way. However, I hope you've had some fun because, well, it's been pretty fun if you've been able to find some of that fun. This is a 4-hour chart of the RBTC. This is a 4-hour chart of the RUSDT. Let's start with the RUSDT. Well, what do we have here? We've got this sloppy drawn line for the daily chart of the red. Okay, so that's fine. That's what we're dealing with there. It's going to be some resistance line. And then we have the green one's going to be a daily one again. The white one is here in this 4-hour chart, showing this support line rising up. So we're going to watch it over the next few days by the 2nd or 3rd of June. Into the beginning of the 4th of June, we'll find out what's happening here. Possibly, well, the basic idea here now that I wanted to actually think about is, have we completed a market cycle? Have we completed one of these things over here, one of these things over here on a 4-hour or on a daily chart? I do believe we have, or at least we're nearing its completion, because we've had our impulse and we've had our correction. However, in this market cycle, the correction is not needing to return back to the beginning of the impulse. Our USD is finding a new level. It has arrived. So this decrease in price is actually leveled off higher, as we can see. That's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm thinking. And we're just beginning to level. And on the RUSD, we actually have not leveled as nicely as on the RBTC, where we have on the RBTC, this move down here reaches down at the same level as this one, or we should say this move over here does not reach as far down. It stays with this, okay, relatively speaking. So here we have a bit more of a potential to begin our sideways movement, whatever that's going to be. Okay, we're going to need some sideways time. It might even need one of these suckers too. Now that's all the way in July, so I don't think it's going to happen in that sense. It would probably more so happen around here. Okay, if anything, and if anything, we might have it even sooner, something like this, and then move on our way and figure out what's next. Okay, that's kind of the idea. Not sure what exactly it will be, but that's potential for us to see. The other side being, we just continue a bit more with the upside of the sideways movements, and that's where we go with that. That's very possible as well. That seems to be what it is. I drew that as a white line because it does confluence back here with this support from this move down. All right, well, that's the 4-hour chart. In terms of Ichimoku, friends, on the USD, it's whoops, how many times are we going to do that? In terms of the USD, by the time we reach again that 2nd, 3rd, or 4th of June, we are going to be hitting this cloud. So either we're willing to test it and move into it, or we will reach it or close to it and be moving down. That's possible, and we could even close around here. We don't even have to close lower than here. Fine. Well, let's watch it play out, but it's been an interesting month of May. We've still got another day or so, and then we're into June. So looking forward to see you in June. so to speak, as the saying goes. So let's watch what happens. Okay, likelihood is more to the down than to the up, just based on the Ichimoku. Okay. Yeah, and also based on the downtrending Bollinger Band. It's not leveled out yet. So, alrighty then. Here we go. We'll see. Let's look at a daily chart for the RUSDT. Oops, we're using getaurox. And looking at a chart. Oh, we can add that from CoinX. So here we are, daily chart. And now you see, okay, I'm gonna get rid of the white, even though you remember that it's there, and we can play it again just to check things. Now you see how it confluences here, potentially. So that's interesting, the line that's happening there. And again, here's 1st of June, 2nd June, 3rd of June, and then to 4th, 5th of June. Here is the end of this action. This is the USD chart. We still have a wide Bollinger Band. So we have plenty of time here to find our base for that market cycle, to find a new phase of reaccumulation, which will then lead to moves up. That's what the idea would be. All right, further moves up. But generally speaking, I don't think we're done this corrective part of the market cycle. Based on this up move, we can correct into June, have some mundane, boring sideways action. That would be ideal. Another ideal situation would be a rocketing up to the upside, but this doesn't seem to be the more likelihood yet. And it feels like overall, as a market cycle, it'll be interesting to see if this and its channel connects with this and the future movements, or how they play into each other further down the line, end of the summer. And really, we could see this to the end of the summer. I mean, we keep coming back to this, but we're going to have some time, aren't we? We're going to have some time. Sideways to here could mean so many different things. It could mean going up and then down. More likely it would. It could mean going sideways like that. Could mean finding some way down and then up, right? The sideways, and then the sideways with some ups, maybe ups into here, whatever, right? It depends really what's happening, but that kind of idea seems most reasonable. And I do think that there will be either a bump up and down, or just a bump up, or just a sideways action, whatever. Okay, we'll see. I look forward to seeing this with you. This is a whole summer though, into August, okay, for the Northern Hemisphere, a whole winter for the Southern Hemisphere, roughly, not technically on the calendar. Now, so what are we thinking then? Well, for now, I think that's it. We're just taking stock of what's happening here. We're trying to take an idea and imagine where we're going to go. We're trying to think about the different things that are happening. So this is the daily chart, and we're just going to look at the candle to get a sense of the intraday action. Oops, we are on the daily chart, RUSDT, and we're taking a Japanese candlestick. We're not fully closed. We're nearing it. We still have about an hour left, and it's even weaker than before, but who knows, it might pop back up to this gray resistance zone. But regardless, yes, there's weakness, but it was also intraday higher than the previous day. So interesting, but nothing yet. And for the USD chart, bias to the downside still, it seems like. We're almost there though, folks. We are almost at that flattening level. It feels like we're basically entering it. Alrighty. And then that takes us to the weekly, and we'll keep the candles just to take a look. Again, we see, well, at least it's a green candle, but it's a weak green candle similar to the previous one. Although the previous one had no wick on the bottom, this one at least has a little wick. And that's what we got after this previous very strong red down candle. Halfway decent buying support here, isn't it? And then a decent week here, up and down week, still closing in the middle of the up and down. That's great. I wouldn't complain. I think it's fine, just fine. I mean, a fuller candle would have been fun, but that's not what we got. We'll see what happens on the next one. I'm thinking probably more sideways / down action. Maybe it'll be a body in the same region with a wick on the downside. Or then again, maybe the wick will again be to the upside, but bias is to the side on the weekly. And we see that on the weekly that in this sense, maybe there isn't even a completion yet that we're seeing. So we're going to watch, and that's where dangers of $2 start to come in with its potential there. But we'll see how that goes. It's going to be interesting watching it into June. Yeah, I'm definitely biased towards the sideways. Let's see what happens. And that's the RUSDT chart. Moving into the RBTC chart, holding that 10,000 Satoshi level, fine, just fine. And you notice we've had our up move and our down move, but the down move did not come all the way down and go sideways. And it did not come down and then go up and then go down. It seems like it came down, went up, and well, up and down, and now sideways, nicely getting into that sideways action. Still potential bias to the downside. This is the 4-hour chart for our BTC. Still have a downward bias a bit on that Bollinger Band. Also with that Ichimoku up top, we could see some interesting sort of grab up to this cave area here, this roof part of the 4-hour. That'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I hope you stick around, friends of Ichimoku. Stick around and see if we make it up into here. It feels like a Mario game, Mario Brothers with the underwater level. And let's see. Okay. All right. Now, we are having these valleys here, and we're going to see they are rising, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything for us right now, because again, this Ichimoku cloud is going to be encountering our sideways path by roughly the 2nd of June. I mean, we're really basically there. It's right above us at this 10,500-ish level. So again, there's a slight bias to the downside with the BTC price of Pirate, but maybe it's time to test a bit of cloud action. Or then again, there's a lot of room just down this way. So maybe that's the direction for this next week. Let us find out. It'll be interesting to see. I think that actually makes the most sense. So that's the bias for this 4-hour chart. What would that mean, let's say, for a daily chart? Well, we're going to check it out. Come on over. Oh, by the way, I wanted to point out, actually, that was part of it. So the red is for daily. Ignore the purples. And the white connects the top to these points here, this point here on the 4-hour. And so we've broken above it, and now we're riding it down. And we could nicely ride it down, and it doesn't matter. We're through that. So that to me says, okay, this trend line from the 0 to B roughly, if we're talking like that, is going to be broken now here on the 4-hour chart. So good for you, 4-hour players, friends of 4-hour charts. I hope this has been exciting for you. This is shaping up to be a very interesting situation. So we'll keep an eye on this 4-hour chart with the our BTC pair, and that's in the next coming days. All right, into this week. And then we're going to look at the daily of the ARRR BTC. So here we are. So many lines. These were actually taken from the downtrending lines here, these two white lines, right? This white channel. The downtrending lines that is on the bottom is from these touches, and then the what would be called, I guess, supply line would be the top line, the demand line, the bottom line. Supply line is taken mainly from 1, 2, 3 touches here, as well as a touch here, okay? And so we're just working with that kind of channeling, but it's irrelevant. It doesn't really mean anything per se, but it'll be interesting to watch for potential movements outside of it, and then we can get rid of it, but we'll get rid of it anyway and we'll keep it in the back of our minds. Now, the other thing is, so we have the touch of the red, it breaks it above it a bit here. If we want to, and then it kind of breaks out just like on the 4-hour, but if we want to, oops, we want to take it and work it even further out, we still break it, okay? So we're broken it, pretty official on that sense. How important you take that line, that's up to you. To me, it says we're out of this downward move and now we're in a potential consolidation, accumulation, reaccumulation. And there was a lot of basically I would consider this distribution, and part of that will be some reaccumulation for people, especially if they've sold here and want to get back in. Well, we're now making our way to the time of the great sideways action in our BTC. Maybe it'll just take us sideways into the end of the summer. More likely than that, though, there will be some form of movement for us. I doubt that there will be complete. Well, then again, maybe that's the whole point, is it's going to bore us and finally capitulate us at some point further down, and then we're off to the next one. Again, I don't know if these are like completed cycles on the daily level, and that they, you know, on the weekly level, it's a different story. I would like to take a look at the Japanese candlestick for today, just as a reminder of the theme for our BTC, which is, I really want to get in there. Okay, the theme for our BTC really is oh yeah, of course it had to. Really is. You see that sucker right there? You see it? So sideways. It's so sideways, spinning top like that. I mean, it's got some decent wick action, and the wick on top is higher than the wick on the bottom, but not by much. And quite an interesting situation we have ourselves here. It is also part of a larger downtrend. So until we find, let's get back to the line chart. Until we find a high that is higher than this one here of May 24th, around the 11,500 Satoshi level. Until we find a higher high than that, we're still in a overall downtrend with this low here. We're just trying to find out if we are going to make a lower low than this 9,500 Satoshi close, or if we're going to make a higher high than this 11,000 close first. Yeah. And then, well, yeah, we'll see. And then we'll see what happens after that. Okay. So there you go. That's kind of what I'm thinking about that there, is just the idea of now sideways movement with some ups and downs. When is our final capitulation? Or is this even going to be a chart that we consider alongside the dollar chart? Or is it going to decouple and even go the opposite way? Or we shall find out how that plays out, but stick around and I'll be glad to walk with you along the way. I can do a walk and talk. All right, so that's it. I don't really have much else to say on that. We will keep it at candlestick and look at the weekly. Again, we're waiting on this daily for things to narrow and really get set up. So watch though. If we do have a move to the upside, I don't think it'll go much. Oh, look how this Bollinger Band here is in the same level as this cloud here, which is about 15,000 Satoshis. But I don't even think it would go much higher than even like the 14,000. All right, we'll find out. But that, who knows? Yeah, we'll find out. I'm not going much further down that train of thought. So on the weekly, yep, somewhat similar with this green candle. Somewhat weak, somewhat strong. More on the weak than the strong, but because of the green, the bias is stronger than weak, which is good. But relative to the previous candle, the overall situation seems weak. And sideways is okay because it's a strong version of weak for us. We will take a sideways strong version of weak. Let's see what that means. I hope you stick around. I don't have much else to say. We're just watching. Oh yeah, that's what the channel was really. Remember that channel? Interestingly enough, it actually it was a parallel channel here that was here, and when when you bring it back, it actually would confluence with that dip low. Let's see if we can see that again. Yeah, you see that right there? Kind of like, this is not perfect. I cleaned it up a bit, but do you see how pretty interesting that is? Okay, so that's actually where that channel had come from previously. Okay, so that's kind of the point, is that we're still in a downward channel. We are not confirmed anything. We have, except for last week, we confirmed a lower low. This is the low right here. So this here was the low after our massive run up high mono wave to 16,000. And then we have our 10,000. Of course, yeah, intraday and whatever intra week, we had much higher moves. Then we have our 10,000, which is our low. Then we had a lower high at 14,000. Now we have a lower low at 10,000. Sorry, yeah, 9,500. And this week, roughly closing around 10,000. So, which means we have not yet made a higher high than this previous high, which was lower than the other high. So lower high, we want a higher high, and we don't know if we made a higher, or at least we want to make a higher low, so that even if we make a lower low than this, but if we make a higher, sorry, a lower high, sorry. So if we make a lower high, like here or whatever, okay, lower than this one of 10th May, and then we make a higher low, okay, than this low here of this week, or sorry, of previous week, last week, okay? But we'll find out. Let's find out. That seems like that would be awesome. That would work for me. Does it work for you? I think that would be nice. We shall see. Maybe it won't look like exactly like that drawing there, obviously, but hey, it'll be interesting to find out. So I'm going to be watching along the way, and I hope you join me. That's about it. I don't really have much else to say. Let's just go to the 1 day and check on our friends. RSI, not much to say for yourself. MACD has some potential. All right, let's see what happens, but it's going to need to wind sideways for a bit. So there you go, friends. I hope this has been of value to you. Remember that you can grab yourself some pirate wear, nice t-shirts for the summer and the winter underneath your warm clothing. Yeah, or, you know, for whatever reason, rocking that Pirates, get it before the next pump, and then you can rock it and feel real good. Awesome. Okay, That's about it for now. Take care of yourselves. Love, peace, happiness to you all. Goodbye.